Yeah, Danya?
Um, yeah, what do you do when the leader of your organization wants to be the one doing the online?
Ooh, can you explain further about exactly what they want to do? This sounds very exciting.
Well, in other organizations that I've heard of before, sometimes the leader is like, oh, we've just had a big victory. I've written the email. Please push send.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you know, we need to have this on the website, but there isn't like this integrated concept of like, you know, how does this play in the political? How are we organizing around it? You know, what makes sense for the online message? So instead, it's just like, I've done it, or I want to do it, and please proof it and publish it and whatever. So
does anyone else have that experience? I know that I've absolutely had that, where someone's like, I have an awesome email. Here's 80 paragraphs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can
Jason,
share
a thought?
Jason, yeah.
I have a real life example of a similar thing from an organization I used to work at that will remain nameless. And the executive director was convinced, normally when we did our emails to our list, they went out with the name of the organization and then my name as the signature. And the executive director was convinced that if it came from them, that person, the ED, that everybody would recognize them because they were such a rock star. So I did a test and I pulled 500 emails out and sent the same message under both names, my name and their name, to random 500 people on the list. And when it went out under my name, it had a 15% higher open rate.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's things you can do, like if for example, it got to me once sent like an 80 paragraph message, like test it. Put together an 80 paragraph version and a 3 paragraph version. Pull a few people, send it to a random sample, and then show them the numbers. And then it's not just you saying this is a bad idea. It's, look, reality says this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it could be the length of the message, it could be the tone, it could be the positioning, but these are all things you can test without going out to your full list.
The absolute easiest way to prove your point, because you can even structure the test so that it kind of proves your point if you want to.
That's true.
But, you know, nine times out of 10, you're right, because you understand online. The person who understands online is gonna obviously do better than the person who's like, oh, I have 80 paragraphs, no links.
One of the things that I did is I would just train everybody in online stuff, and then they'd realize that they were doing it wrong.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
what the
something
two is internal. What I call internal organizing, where you know, training people to understand. It's the same thing. Like, I don't go to the communications department and say, I wrote this awesome press release. You guys should totally send this out. But communications will totally come to online and be like, I have this awesome email, send it out, right? Part of it is understanding each person's space. That, you know, there's a bit of a problem with people who work online in that you need to own up and be like, I know this better than anyone in my organization, and, you know, start to own the responsibility and own the expertise, and that in itself is actually effective for people being like, all right, you know, listen, this person knows what they're talking about. When you have test results to back it up, you can do it. Now, if it's more of a problem with a huge ego from top being like, well, it doesn't matter what test results say, this is what we're doing, that's a bit of a different problem. But again, understanding how, being able to have them understand the culture, the tactics, and the best practices is really important for them to back off. And I think that if you just do a little bit of internal organizing, it can be effective.
I just also want to add that, you know, when you first mentioned that, it's something to me like, you know, it can be really annoying, and it's sort of this kind of micromanaging thing. Also think about it as actually quite a decent opportunity for new content development, because it's a somewhat different perspective than you're going to be able to come up with. There's going to be that little bit of insight, that little bit of insider stuff in there that you can't possibly know about, and that's what you need to really encourage that person to bring out. If my executive director came to me and said that she wanted to start writing her own emails, that would probably be a problem for me, but I would say, you know, if you're really into writing, you really want to write, you know, something of that length once a week or twice a week, then maybe we can start some kind of either a special email list to a certain class of people that know your name or know you more personally, or maybe it's a director's blog, maybe it's members only content that, it's something that we can use that for to either make money or engage more people or different people.
Yeah. If you can get a Huffington Post account, it's free and it's a good way to just dump
Bosses stuff.
Bosses
And
stuff.
bosses love it because they've heard of it and it comes up in Google. Like, it's great.
And if not, then get a WordPress blog, just get a Blogger thing that you can link, right? And that's a bit of a slippery slope because they're like, well, I want it on the front page. Why can't I have an interstitial that pops up with my thing before anyone else comes to the website?
They won't notice. I have never had one of them notice that their shit gets buried and no one reads it.
Yeah, and that's why individual links, but instead of just like posting it on a long blog or whatever else, an excerpt, if you have a link that can forward around, you're good.
I will suggest that when you're dealing with a principal with a large ego or their elected official or whatnot, the strategy I've used is when they say, I want to write a bunch of emails, say, great, I'll take care of that for you. Because they just want their name on it, so you just come back to them with a bunch of drafts. And then the other thing that actually saved my life when it comes to social media is Tweet Later, which you guys are, Tweet Later is an ability to do something like, when the press conferences are ahead of time, when everything's happening ahead of time, you have a copy of the calendar ahead of time, so you just sit down and you put in 250 tweets from now until whenever, and whenever the calendar gets updated, you go there and you just make very sure that whoever's body person knows that the principal decides they're not showing up to an event, that they need to tell you that they cannot be tweeting from an event that they are not at. So that's the only bad thing.
Hootsuite lets you do that, right?
Yeah, Hootsuite and CoTweet lets you.
CoTweet is the one that people like the most. I like Tweet Later because it's just very simple and straightforward.